Hello everyone, you are welcome and welcome back to my channel. My new subscribers, thank you so much for stopping by, while my old subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. In today's tutorial, I'll be learning how to cut an A-line gown with a statement sleeve, a 3-step statement sleeve. This is how it looks like. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So I'll be using 6 yards of an African print, that is an Ankara. Though I'm not going to exhaust all, but you know an African print always comes in 6 yards. So these are my tools that I'll be needing for the project. So let's get right to the drafting. So you know the length of an African print is always 45 inches, while the length I'm working with is 55 inches. It's not going to be enough, so I'm going to fold it the other way around. That is through the yardage part. So I'm just trying to cut out my length here. My length is 55 inches plus extra 2 inches, making 57 inches. So I'm just going to cut out the front and the back at once. And please, if you have been watching my videos all this while and you haven't subscribed yet, please click on the subscribe button. Thank you. So I'm just trying to fold my fabric. So after folding, this is what I have. So I have both the front and the back. As you can see, they are of the same length. So I want to cut both the front and the back separately. Yes, so I'm going to keep this back aside and work on the front. So sewmate, I don't want my gown to be too A-line. Like I don't want the A shape to come out too well. So I'm going to measure. So I'm right here, I'm measuring the quarter of my hip measurement. My hip is 40 inches. Divided by 4 is 10 inches. That's what I've marked there. That's the hem of the gown. So I mark out 10 inches as the quarter of my hip measurement plus extra 6 inches or 5 inches. I think I use about 5 or 6 inches. Yes. So, but if you want yours to be too A-line, you can use the whole of the width. Yes, you can use the whole of the width. You can even use less than 5 inches that I use. You can use extra like 3 inches or 4 inches. Remember, it's a free dress, not fitted. So after measuring, I have folded my fabric to how I want the width to be. This is it. So I think I have about 16 inches on fold as my width. So let's get right to drafting. So I've already marked out my horizontal measurement. So the first line there is a starting point, my guideline. The second line there is the armhole line, that is my waistline, and that is my hip line. So for my starting point to my armhole, I have 8 inches. To my waist measurement, I have 17 inches, and my hip measurement, I used 24 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to impute my shoulder measurement. That is 14 inches divided by 2, 7 inches, plus extra half inches for joining it with the sleeve. So in total, I have 7.5 inches. So that's what I'm going to measure, that same 7.5 inches on the armhole line. Then I'll use a ruler to connect it to have a very straight line. After that, I'll measure my shoulder slopes. That is, from that line, I'm coming down by 1 inch. My neck width, I use 3 inches. Then I'll use a ruler to connect the points together. It's going to be a slanted line. So after that, we'll measure the armhole. I have 7 inches left. Then I'll measure half of it, which is 3.5 inches. Go in by half inches like so. Then I'll use a ruler to connect it. That is from the shoulder slope to where the half inches is rather. Then I'll use my curve to complete my armhole. So this is how our armhole looks like. So the next thing to do now is to impute my bust measurement. My bust measurement is 38 inches divided by 4, 9.5 inches. I mark it plus half inch allowance. Sorry, half inch for ease. It's not allowance, it's for ease because it's not a fitted dress. Plus extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. I hope you understand that. So I'll repeat the same process for the waist. My waist is 34 inches. 34 inches divided by 4 is 8.5 inches. You can see 8.5 inches. I added half inch for ease. Then 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then I'll repeat the same process for the hip measurement. So for the hip, I have 40 inches as my hip. Divide by 4, 10 plus half inch for ease. Then 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then I'll use a ruler to connect the points together. That's for my bust to my waist. For my waist to my hip. Please make sure you use this ruler. Then for my hip all the way down to the hem. So I'm just going to cut out carefully, please. So after cutting out, this is how it looks like. So I'm going to chalk the wrong side of my fabric, please, especially if you are working with an African print that the front and the back is almost the same. So this is it. So what I'm going to do next, I'll place my front measurement on my other fabric and cut out the back, which I have already done. So you can see it is exactly. The only difference is just the zipper allowance at the back. You can see I added 1 inches for the zipper allowance. So I want to show you guys something which I normally do. So I left out 1 inch for my zipper allowance, right? So for my waist measurement, I'm going to extend the line and I'll mark out half inch just on the waistline. This is to avoid bulge at the back. And make sure not to add too much allowance for your zipper as well. So I'll just connect the point upward and the other downwards. It doesn't change anything. So you just cut it out exactly. So I'm just separating the back parts because it's going to be 2. So don't forget to chalk the wrong side of your fabric. Remember our back is now 2. So make sure you chalk both sides. So the next thing for us to do now is to cut out the neck measurements. So remember the width, we already used 3 inches. I'm still going to maintain that 3 inches. Then for the depth, the back I'm using 1.5 inch, while the front I'm using 3 inches. It's going to have a collar, so the neck is not going to be wide. So I'll just use my curve to connect the points together. Then I'll cut out the back neck. Then I'll keep the back aside and cut out the front neck. You can see this is how it looks like. So just make sure you notch where necessary, notch the center, the down part as well, you notch the front part, then the back part you also notch where the zipper allowance is going to stay. So we are done with the cutting for the bodies. Let's go over to the sleeve. So for the sleeves, we are going to cut a normal sleeve underneath before we add our flares to it. Yes, so I'm just starting by imputing my armhole measurement. Remember our armhole was 7 inches, but you see that I'm measuring 10. I measured it together with my allowance, that's why it's 10. Yes, so after that, from the upper part I came down by 4 inches, which is the bicep measurement. I normally get that by dividing my bust into, I divide my bust by 12 plus 1 inch. You can try yours. So at the upper part, I measured half of 10 inches, which is 5 inches. Then I'll just use a curve to connect it, which is going to stop at that line, exactly like so. So I'm just trying to make sure my curve is okay. So I'm just trying to confirm if I have my exact armhole measurement. So after drawing out the curve, so we measure our sleeve length. So the sleeve length I'm working with is 23 inches. Remember we are going to add a flare at the down part. And my flare, I want my flare to be 5 inches. So I'm going to subtract 5 from 23 inches, which is 19 inches. That's what I'm going to mark right here, 19 inches plus extra 1 inch. That is half inch for joining back to the armhole and the other half inch for stitching to the flare. Then I'll impute my round sleeve measurement plus 1 inch. I think my round sleeve is 8 inches. Divide by 2, 4 inches plus 1 inch. So I'll use a ruler to connect the points together. Then I'll cut out. After cutting now, this is how the sleeve looks like. This is it. So the next thing to do now is to fold over our fabric again, place the sleeve and cut out the other sleeve. Remember our sleeve is 2. So let's cut out the flares. And don't forget to chalk the wrong side of your fabric. Very, very important. So we'll bring out the sleeves again because we want to mark out where the flare is going to, where we are going to sew the flare on. So from the edge of the sleeve, I'm marking out 9 inches. Now I'm going to use a ruler So after that, from that 9 inches point, I'm going to measure what I have from the 9 inches point to the hem of the sleeve. I have 10 inches. Yes, 10 inches. So I'm just going to divide the 10 into 2, which is 5 inches. So the second flare is going to be on that line. You can see 5 inches. Hope you understand what I did. So we have our first step flare, the second, and the third. I hope you understand. So let's cut out the flares. So each of the flare have different radius. You can see they have different radius. So I'm cutting out the down one first. So the radius, I have 10.5 inches. So let's do some calculation. My radius, remember I measured it, I have 10.25. Then the length of my flare, remember I said it's 5 inches plus 1.5 inches, that is for sewing allowance, making it 6.5 inches in total. So if you want to cut out a 360 flare, this measurement is just radius or your circumference divided by 6.28. So here I have 10.25 divided by 6.28, which is going to give me 1.6. That is my new radius, is 1.6. So in order not to waste our fabric, we are going to add the radius with the length of the flare all together. That our radius is 1.6 inches plus the length, which is 6.5 inches. So after adding them up, I have 8.1 inches in total. So while folding my fabric now, I'm going to fold 8.1 inches. So this is it. I have my fabric. So remember we added up our radius and our length, which gave us 8.1 inches. So that's what I'm going to fold right now. So on fold, I have 8 inches. Yes, I have 8 inches or 8.1 inches. So at the other edge, I'm going to measure that same 8 inches. You can see. Then I'll fold it over. Fold it over like so, making sure I have 8 inches on fold. This is it, 8 inches. So by doing this, you are going to save a lot of fabric, trust me. So after that, I'm going to measure that same 8 inches all round, starting from that edge right there. You can see where I'm placing my tape, 8 inches all round to form a curve. So I'll just connect all the points together and cut it out. And this is how it looks like after cutting out the perfect round shape. So now we'll cut out our radius. So our radius, remember, it's 1.6 inches. So from that same edge, we are going to measure 1.6 inches all round. So this is it. So we are going to separate one side, and this is how it looks like. This is how our flare looks like. This is it. This is how to cut a 360 degrees flare. You can see how round, how perfect the circle is. So the method I used to cut this one, that's what I used to cut the others as well. You can see I already cut out my other flare. Remember, it's 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, making 6 in total. So I just want to show you how it's going to look like. So this is the first flare, this is the second, and this is the third. So I'm just trying to rearrange it again to show you guys. So mates, the video is becoming too long. So for the sewing process, it's going to be another video. So if you want to know how I sew the dress and how I sew the sleeves together, make sure you watch the other video and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching till the end. And this is how the sleeve is. Like, I'm already in love with the sleeve. So thank you so much for watching to this stage. Watch out for the next video. Bye.